Bonjour à tous, bienvenue encore pour ce nouveau temps fort d'Agora Live Expérience Client. Nous nous demanderons en compagnie de David Hudson, Regional Director Experience Management Solutions IMEA chez Verint, comment la situation a obligé la plupart des organisations à repenser leur parcours et leur expérience client. Nous demanderons également comment agir de manière globale sur les attitudes des clients multicanaux et comment structurer son approche de la mesure et de l'analyse de l'expérience client. Petite originalité de ce format, nous réaliserons donc cet échange avec David Hudson dans la langue de Shakespeare. Hi David, do you hear me well?
I do, thank you very much indeed, yes.
Thank you, it's a pleasure to have you today on our TV set. First things first, can you introduce yourself and make a short presentation of Verint?
Certainly. As you know already, my name is David Hudson. I lead the team in Europe for Verint's Experience Management Solutions business unit, and have been with Verint for a number of years. I have a background in, believe it or not, in mechanical engineering, but have spent many years in web systems optimization, experience management for the last 10 years. I have a presentation that covers, I hope, the full gamut of what the impact of COVID-19 has had on our industry, the experience management industry. I'd like, first of all, to introduce you to Verint, talk about the impact of COVID-19 and how that's impacted both customer centricity and the way in which we measure customer experience. Our blueprint for successful customer experience programs covers basically breaking the subject down into three types of experience management. I'll end with a quick look at the solution that we deliver. I'm focused, however, here on the subject rather than trying to make this an advert for Verint. You're hopefully pleased to hear. One slide quickly on Verint. We are the customer engagement company. We as a business look to simplify, modernize, and automate and help our customers with these three things as they move to being an engaged supplier to their clients and customers. We help our customers elevate customer experience, improve customer experience, whilst at the same time improving operational efficiency. So that's sort of the utopian dream for all customer experience programs, is to improve customer experience without increasing costs. So let's look at...
Okay, right, David. Yes. Let's start with the impact of COVID-19 concerning the customer experience. What did you observe?
I've sort of taken a quick snapshot of five different sectors: travel, hospitality, retail, logistics, and financial services. And I'd just like to do one slide on each of these, just to give you some background thoughts on what has been going on in each of those sectors. In travel, obviously, we've seen, I've picked an airline example here, the overall global seat capacity for 2019, 2020, and the month of January in 21, this current year. You can see there's been dramatic impact on the number of flights around the world, massive reductions. And it's interesting, I have a perspective of some of the airlines that I travel with on a fairly, or traveled previously on a fairly regular basis. Our national carrier here in the UK, it was really, really difficult to get a refund for the flights that I had booked and was not able to take. Whereas my holiday vendor, a regional low-cost carrier, I went online, clicked a couple of buttons, and got my money back within about a day. That contrast is dramatic, and I would point out to all those facing these types of disruptions that if they wish to be in business long term, they need to think about customer loyalty. And that's not just about delivering a good booking experience, it's about delivering a good refund experience as well, and reacting to changes like this in a way that ensures that in the future, people say good things about them, rebook, and their business can recover when things change for the better. I picked an interesting example for hospitality, fish and chips. Great British institution almost. I live in a small village west of London, and we have a small local fish and chip shop. Within a month of the lockdown happening here in the UK, they launched a mobile app. They effectively did an overnight digital transformation. And now 90% of the orders that you book with our local fish and chip shop are click and collect. You order online, you pay online, and then you turn up, you park your car outside their fish and chip shop, you poke your head out of the window and tell them you're there. They know me. I've been in this village for nearly 30 years now, and they recognize me and they bring the order out to the car. I do not have to go into the shop in order to pick up my fish and chips. I should hesitate, should say I don't often eat fish and chips, but it's still an institution here in the UK. Retail in general has seen massive changes. I put a QR code in the top right-hand corner here. I am seeing QR codes everywhere in the UK. The acceptance of QR as a mechanism for accessing digital resource has massively increased as a result of this, the COVID-19 pandemic. Amazon, massively expanding. Digital retailers are doing really well out of the pandemic. And here in the UK, we're seeing businesses like Boohoo, a online fashion retailer, buying Debenhams, one of the big high street retail brands. They are only buying the brand and the website, however, and Debenhams high street stores will probably close. A British institution almost in the retail space. ASOS, another online fashion retailer, are buying the best bits of the Arcadia retail group here in the UK. A bricks and mortar high street retailer is being eaten by the online retailers.
Le visionnaire, tu vois quoi là?
Of course, the impact of massively increased digital and online retail is that the logistics businesses, Hermes, one of our clients, has seen massive increase in both parcel delivery and also activity in general. They've rolled out their 5-year growth plan in 5 months. In 2019, they delivered 380 million parcels. In 2020, they delivered 630 million parcels. On one day, in the 1st of December 2020, they delivered 3.5 million parcels leading up to Christmas. They've relocated their contact center from India back to the UK. They've instigated a photographic proof of delivery system. They've recruited couriers. They've expanded their depots. Huge growth for the logistics sector as a result of online retail. Interestingly, if you look at retail banking, you could almost argue that not a lot has changed. This is the penetration of digital activity, digital banking, from 2007 through to 2020 in the retail banking sector. They've just continued with a long-term digital transformation program. Okay, HSBC are closing another 82 branches here in the UK, which will bring them down to 511 branches, but that's been going on for years. They, as an industry, the retail banking sector as an industry, is relatively well prepared for what's been going on because they are a digital first business now. So if we look at how customer experience has impacted across all those sectors as a summary, there's obviously reduced face-to-face interaction, which means it's far harder to sort of garner the insight that you need simply by talking to people. Because people, if you look at the fish and chip shop now, how do they know whether part of their the list of things they sell? I mean, they don't just sell fish; they sell other products as well. How do they know whether they're missing something? How do they know whether people want them to deliver something that they don't currently deliver? Very difficult to get that sort of market research type information because they no longer have people coming into the fish and chip shop and saying, have you got this? Massive accelerated pace of change. For most industries, massive acceleration in the digital transformation. Digital has as a result of COVID-19 now for many industries become the norm. Overloaded contact centers. Hermes bringing their contact center back from India to the UK and recruiting staff has been a real issue for them in terms of recruiting those staff, setting up the systems. Initially their contact center was hugely overloaded. It is still overloaded. They as a business, however, are looking at why it's overloaded rather than just recruiting more staff. Fix the root cause rather than simply recruit staff. Part of the solution to those sort of overloaded contact center issues is self-service is now wanted by the majority of their customers. They want to be able to go online, find out where their parcel is without having to call the contact center. Luckily, we're seeing that actually satisfaction with services delivered in the early days of lockdown here in the UK was actually higher than previously. And that's because expectations have been temporarily lowered. People know there are problems, so they're happy to tolerate poor performance. That won't last forever. Businesses have a finite amount of time to fix these problems. And unless they fix them, satisfaction will drop and there will be further casualties of COVID-19 from a business success point of view.
Okay, David, which trend was the most painful for companies across different sectors? What's the most painful trend you observe?
I think from a financial point of view, obviously, it's the fact that there is now little or no face-to-face interaction possible. And businesses that don't have a valid digital presence and capability to act digitally are really struggling. There are a couple of retailers here in the UK that don't have, that they are high street only. And without a digital presence, I see that they are going to really struggle. I think the other thing is sort of the reaction to change. And that's about customer centricity. You need to understand your customer. This is a great quote from Henry Ford. It's not the employer who pays the wages. Employers only handle the money. It's the customer who pays the wages. Henry Ford delivered the Model T Ford all those years ago in one color, black. And that was because that was the low-cost way of creating the Model T Ford, because he recognized that actually people didn't want flashy colored cars. They wanted access to a car at a reasonable price. He understood his customers. And whilst others were focused on creating really nice, flashy cars, there are loads of automotive brands in the US that are no longer there because they didn't follow the needs of their customers. So the first thing to look at is customer centricity, making sure that you understand your customers, and most importantly, that all of your team understand what it is that drives the customers and therefore why you're making certain decisions. The second thing about a successful customer experience program is measuring everywhere. You interact with your customers in all sorts of different places, on the phone, by email, digitally, chat, face-to-face. You collect survey data, you understand their behavior, you define them as being a certain segment, they have a certain loyalty or value. And that's without even thinking about all the social media data that tells you how your brand is doing. So you need to understand your customer at all the different touch points. And it's not just your customer. You can also survey your employees. Where you still have face-to-face interaction, your employees know an awful lot about your customers. and asking them what their perception of the experiences they're delivering and what motivates them as employees has a huge impact on your understanding of your customers. A satisfied employee delivers a good customer experience, and there is a clear correlation between the two. We're doing quite a lot of survey work now where employers are surveying their employees to understand the work from home situation. How are people doing as employees now that they're working from home and not interacting face to face with their colleagues? You can also learn a huge amount from the businesses that are already transformed. They're already digital first. If you look at financial services, it's a complex world. They're selling multiple products: banking, credit cards, insurance, mortgages, corporate banking, asset management, and there are multiple touch points through the consideration, evaluation, purchase, and support phases. Getting all of that right across all those touch points is what drives loyalty. And notice when you start looking at the processes that the financial services industry has to manage, it's predominantly digital and contact center. The branch network supports that structure rather than the other way around. And we, in other sectors, can learn from this. It's about looking at different sectors, understanding which sectors are not impacted by COVID-19 or are benefiting in some ways from it. The logistics sector, what have they done to grow their business and succeed in this current climate? It's useful to think. So go on, Geoffroy.
No, right. I say it's quite clear. Thank you.
Yep.
You can.
I think it's useful to think about your businesses as being in three parts. You have a locational type of business, you have a contact center type of business, and you have a digital business. And customer experience programs needs to understand each of those. Branch networks in banking, retail stores in retail are full of people, and people need to be motivated in order to be customer centric. So when you're measuring the performance of those businesses using a customer experience program, you need to be able to report that performance to the teams that operate in that space in a way that they understand and motivates them to do better. Great way to do that is asking the likelihood to recommend question, Net Promoter Score. That's simple understanding. How likely are you as a customer of ours to recommend us to others? Net Promoter Score provides a set of data that is not statistically particularly accurate until you have large volumes of data, but can nevertheless provide a number that motivates a team in a retail store to do better, because they will hover around in their weekly meetings and say, well, why has our score gone down? And they will work on improvements based upon knowing whether they're doing better or worse, and comparative analysis with other stores. Of course, just at the moment, quite a lot of retail stores and branches are closed due to social distancing. That will change. It will come back. And in the meantime, as I said earlier, understanding how your employees and staff are doing whilst they're at home is equally important, so that we're ready for when COVID-19 pandemic recedes into the background, hopefully. In the contact center, they are generally so busy just at the moment. Lots of businesses have failed completely to cope with the pandemic. The result is huge numbers of telephone calls to the contact center. Lots of businesses are struggling with managing their contact center at the moment. I would urge you as a business to analyze what the calls are, what they're about, what the complaints are, and look not just at potentially increasing the number of people on the calls, but actually looking at the root cause of those calls and then working with the other parts of your business to improve them, to reduce the number of calls. Looking at that type of information provides fabulously valuable insight into what you need to fix and the root cause of that. And speech analytics systems, text analytics systems will allow you to do that. Of course, digital is I certainly believe the future for many businesses. There's an interesting anomaly with digital. There are no people talking to your customers. So garnering insight about how your digital systems are doing is potentially really difficult. But at the same time, you can collect huge amounts of data about what people do on the website. And if you use surveys, you can also get huge amounts of insight into their attitudes to those digital systems. So the digital space is by definition not full of people. Asking things like Net Promoter Score questions is useful, but doesn't give you the full insight, because you need to start thinking about doing statistical modeling in order to understand the impact of different aspects of a digital experience. And that's difficult unless you have an accurate metric. And we certainly recommend customer satisfaction as a far more objective way of measuring the digital experience. So you have three types of business areas: face-to-face, conversational, and impersonal types of interactions with location, contact center, and digital. In location, Net Promoter Score, and don't forget employee satisfaction questions as well. In the contact center, Net Promoter Score is still important because you're motivating people, but you've also got metrics like first call resolution. And in digital, whilst you can still measure Net Promoter Score, we recommend customer satisfaction, but also effort and ease, which are the two major drivers of performance in the digital world. Don't forget, however, that there are certain interactions with your customers that straddle those three different areas. You know, you click and collect, you buy online, you collect from a location somewhere. That starts to create complexity. You know, you've got to think about how your warehouses and delivery systems get those products to the collection locations. You've got to worry, I would suggest, about people that buy large amounts of products simply to try them on, if it's fashion retail, and those then result in large numbers of returns. Really difficult in a COVID world, receiving return goods from a location which may not, well, will have to go into quarantine before your staff can then touch that. Remember that, you know, this is remote, and so you need support infrastructure in place, and you need online content, and that needs to be consistent. So think about knowledge management. You know, how do you get information to your teams to support the click and collect process and make that available online to people that wish to self-serve, and make that consistent between contact center and digital? Experience management is complex.
Yes, David, may I interrupt you?
Yes.
Time is running out so with you. It's very instructive. We have still 3 or 4 minutes left to do this presentation. Obviously, it's quite complicated to holistically understand the client. How to build a structured approach to customer experience measurement and analysis in 3 minutes, if you may, David.
Certainly. 3 minutes, 3 things.
Yes.
The first thing is break a customer experience program into these 3 things. Hotfix CX is the first of those. You need a system that looks at complaint management. There are alerts, triggers, and real-time responses capable, and case management systems for those people that contact you with a complaint. That's an important part of a customer experience program. You then also need to aggregate all of that information, analyze it, look at root causes, do driver modeling in order to prioritize improvements. So respond to people using Hotfix CX, but also look at the aggregate and work out, you know, why are people complaining? What is it you're good at? What is it you're bad at? And operationally focus on improving the experiences that you deliver. Finally, provide information to the main board that helps them make strategic investment decisions. You know, customer experience programs can focus on what you're doing now. What should you be doing tomorrow? Should you be doing something different? And this is about benchmarking yourself against your industry and other industries, providing dashboards and reports to senior management, and making strategic investment decisions. And do all of that in a single platform. put all the feedback into a single platform, the speech and text insights into a single platform, have that platform trigger alerts in case management, create a unified data model that allows you to prioritize, and wrap that in consulting from an insight point of view so that you have all the information you need. And if you've done that, then you're bringing together speech, text, and feedback into a single experience management program. I think that was about 3 minutes. I hope that was what you were hoping for, Geoffroy.
It was perfect. Thank you so much, David, for your insight. It was very enlightening. La session live touche à sa fin. Remember, David, keep connected to the very end of the jingle. Thank you so much to be on our TV set today. L'occasion aussi, en cette fin de keynote, de remercier l'ensemble de nos partenaires officiels et institutionnels. Je pense à Ecorezo Business, Sens du Client, Franchise et Concept, et du service client de l'année, l'INRC, la FIGEC, l'Institut du Commerce et Agora News, Expérience Client. Un grand merci aux équipes d'Agora Manager et Agora Media. Merci d'avoir assisté à ce temps fort dans la langue de Shakespeare. Bientôt disponible en replay. Jingle Benjamin.